What Lonzo thinks is a wide-ranging, free-flowing discussion where I offer up my unsolicited views on everything from music, movies, politics, sports, religion, pop culture, you name it. If it's happening, I'm talking about it. As usual, my thoughts are unsolicited, nobody cares, but if you're listening, you might start to care. If you start to care, I might care more too. Then you might care a little bit more, then I might care more, but there'll be a whole lot of caring going on. So, all right. All right. Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine. We're talking about music because music is one of my favorite subjects. I talk about music probably more than anything else. I don't know why, because I always listen to music. Music is part of the fabric of my life. And as everybody probably knows by now, that my favorite artist is Prince. And I think I've spoken ad nauseum about my admiration for Prince and his music. So no need to rehash that. But I will talk a little bit about this conversation that I had with a friend of mine who asked me a very deep and thought-provoking question when it comes to me. Well, maybe not deep and thought-provoking, but it was deep and thought-provoking to me because I thought about it and I was deep in thought. And that provoked me to speak on it. So, anyways, friend asked me, what's your favorite song of all time? Oh, that's easy, man. Of course, it's a Prince song. So what's your favorite song of all time? I was like, hey, my favorite song of all time is the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. And he was like, what? What the hell is that? The Ballad of Dorothy Parker? Never heard of that. Well, of course you haven't. Because it's an obscure song. Well, I guess I shouldn't say obscure. Maybe it is obscure. It's obscure to the layperson who doesn't really follow Prince. But I think that the Ballad of Dorothy Parker is the greatest song ever written in the history of mankind. And my friend was like, well, you got to tell me more. I got to hear the song. Blah, 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 blah. So, anyways, he popped the top off me. And one of the few things anyone ever wants to do with me when it comes to talking Prince or talking music is to ask me what my favorite song is, because I can wax poetic for a minute on the Ballad of Dorothy Parker and what it means to me and why I think that this is the greatest song I've ever heard in my lifetime. I don't think I will ever hear a better song in my life. And I think it's the greatest song ever written in the history of mankind. And that is not hyperbole. That is my opinion. Whether or not you agree with it, that's up to you. And I really don't even have to prove it, because in my mind's eye, it is the greatest song ever written in the history of mankind. But then again, who gives a shit what I think? Because the fact that I think that doesn't mean that it's fact. But once again, in my little small world, and my arrogance makes me believe that it is fact. Got it? Got it. All right. So what I'm going to do is basically just kind of wax poetic a little bit about the Ballad of Dorothy Parker and why I think it's the greatest song ever written and why it means so much to me. And hopefully you'll get a deeper understanding of this song, the genesis of it, or maybe not the genesis of it, but the majesty behind Dorothy Parker. And it might encourage you to listen to it in maybe in a different vein, and hopefully you'll begin to like it as much as I do. And Dorothy Parker is actually the fourth song on the Sign of the Times album. Now, the Sign of the Times album, of course, it came out in 1987. Yes, 1987. And of course, Sign of the Times is recognized as one of Prince's greatest albums. Had a lot of great songs. Of course, the title track, Sign of the Times. You Got the Look, If I Was Your Girlfriend, Housequake, Adore, I Can Never Take the Place of Your Man. I mean, this album was a banger. And so when it comes to this particular song, it's kind of I think it's a lost classic, and I think a lot of it stems from the fact that the title is so uninviting. It's a very uninviting title, especially when it comes to popular music. And the reason I say that is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, and this is just my opinion, my observation, is that the general listening public has the attention span of a gnat. Okay? And everything is all about now. It's got to be something that's, that catches me right now. I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to hear the beat, like the beat, hear the chorus, like the chorus, and it's a great song. And people don't really, I think people don't really want to think or analyze or really immerse themselves in a particular song anymore. Maybe in the past, maybe, when the world was slower and you didn't have the internet and all these outlets and everything and these different platforms, maybe things were a little bit different. back then versus the way they are now. I know being old fashioned, maybe because I'm an older guy, but my opinion is around this time, back in '87, that's when the world was starting to speed up a little bit, and obviously there was more access to things, and people just weren't as introspective when it comes to listening to music. Just my opinion. So the title, "The Ballad of Dorothy Parker," is not an inviting title. It's not something you hear that title, you want, oh, I got to hear this song. It's just not going to engender that kind of a reaction from anyone. I firmly believe that. Like, say, for example, if you hear a title like Housequake, oh man, yeah, you want to hear it because Housequake is such an aggressive title, and it just makes you think, hey, this song is going to be a banger, or even something that's like Let's Go Crazy, or Controversy, or Head, or I Want to Be Your Lover. I mean, Cream. I mean, these titles are titles that really, kind of pique your interest because it's these aggressive keywords. Whereas something like The Ballad of Dorothy Parker is not gonna make your heart pound to want to listen to it. And on top of that, most people probably didn't know who Dorothy Parker was. Well, actually, what I'll do, I'll just kind of jump into some tidbits about the song and kind of go from there. Anyways, the song "The Ballad of Dorothy Parker," Prince is actually telling a story about an incident that he had with a lover, and in a violent room, and he actually goes to a diner, and that's where he encounters Dorothy Parker, and the song begins with Dorothy was a waitress on the promenade. She worked the night shift, dishwater blonde, tall and fine. She got a lot of tips. Well, earlier I've been talking stuff in a violent room, fighting with a lover's past. I needed someone with a quicker wit than mine. Dorothy was fast. Now, in actuality, Prince did not know who Dorothy Parker was. He never even heard of Dorothy Parker as far as the poet, because Dorothy Parker was a famous writer, poet, pundit, humorist, and Prince didn't know who she was. He liked the name, and he thought that fit good with the theme of the song and the title of the song. So that's how he kind of came across using Dorothy Parker. Now, in actuality, the song was the genesis of a dream that Prince had in regards to a fight that he had with his lover at the time, who was Susanna Melvoin, Whitney Melvoin's from Wendy and Lisa. She was actually Wendy's twin sister that Prince was dating at the time. Actually, he got engaged to her for a minute as well. So this is where the song kind of grew from, and it's a situation where he meets this quick-witted waitress, and he's basically discussing his issues with her, and the song goes on. Well, I ordered, yeah, let me get a fruit cocktail. I ain't too hungry. Dorothy laughed. She said, sounds like a real man to me. You kind of cute. Want to take a bath? Now, in my opinion, once again, correct me if I'm wrong here, because everyone's interpretation of this song is probably going to be a little bit different. My interpretation is that it's a metaphor for sex. Myself, that's what I'm thinking. She says, you want to take a bath? He says, cool, but I'm leaving my pants on because I'm kind of going with someone. She said, sounds like a real man to me. Mind if I turn on the radio? So I'm thinking that want to take a bath is a metaphor for sex. He's saying, cool, but I'm leaving my pants on. He said, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm going to wear a rubber. Once again, I could be off, but that's my interpretation. That's the beautiful thing about music. You're going to interpret it the way that you want to interpret it, and that's my interpretation of it. Whether or not anyone agrees with it, that's on them, but that's my interpretation of it. And so mind if I turn on the radio? Oh, my favorite song, she said. It was Joni singing. Help me, I think I'm falling. Ring, the phone rang, and she said, who's ever calling can't be as cute as you. Right then and there, I knew I was through. At this point, the song is kind of progressing to a point, and if you're not engaged at this point, probably never will become engaged, because it's a very insightful type of a story that he's telling here. It's very interesting, and the way that he delivers it, the vocalization, the arrangement is engrossing to me. So he goes on. My pants were wet, they came off, but she didn't see the movie because she hadn't read the book first. Instead, she pretended she was blind, an affliction brought on by a witch's curse. Dorothy made me laugh. I felt much better, so I went back to the violin room. Tell us what you did. Well, let me tell you what I did. I took another bubble bath with my pants on. All the fighting stopped. Next time I'll do it sooner. This is the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. So in my opinion, he says, my pants are wet, they came off, but she didn't see the movie because she hadn't read the book first. So they have sex, or maybe he exposes himself to her, and she's taken aback by it. But then again, she pretended she was blind, an affliction brought on by a witch's curse, and she made him laugh. So it was a moment of levity, and this is something that kind of eased him, maybe allayed his fears or eased his anger towards his lover. So he goes back to his lover, and he said, "Well, next time I'll do it sooner." So he learned from Dorothy Parker to maybe control his emotions, to not I guess be so emotional, and to maybe be more open with his lover. So the song has a lot of tentacles behind it, and the subject matter itself is something that is really kind of up for debate as far as exactly what the thoughts are behind it, and exactly what he was trying to say. And like I said, it's definitely up to whomever's interpretation, and how that story is about how the story might be about a waitress with a sharp tongue who's kind of mocking him, and they end up taking a bath and he leaves his pants on. Once again, I think it's a metaphor for sex in some way, and it's a very like I said, it's a dank song. And in a previous podcast, speaking with my friend, the late great Sean Hill, we talked a little bit about this song, and I told him that the Ballad of Dorothy Parker, in my opinion, is probably the most visual song I've ever heard. When I say visual, is that when I hear this song, I can close my eyes and it takes me exactly where he wants me to go. It takes me into that diner with him and this waitress having this this deep conversation, and how the song kind of progresses along with it. And it's such an inviting song. And once again, it's so visual to me. I can just close my eyes, turn off the lights, and just get immersed in the song. And one of the things I like most about it is the music, the instrumental arrangement. It has a really spare beat to it. It's a very simple song when you think about it, but it has such a spare beat to it, and the sound is kind of haunting, and it's something I've never heard before or after. The instrumentation, the sounds that he creates for the song are just so exquisite, and I think it's just magnificent. And like I said, I've never before or after heard anything even close to it. And obviously I've done a lot of research on this particular song. And one of the things I learned is that it's like a lazy, hypnotic type of a sound. And this sound that he came up with was actually arrived about in an accident. His engineer, by the name of Susan Rogers, was his engineer. And at the time of this song, they were actually setting up a home studio for Prince. And actually, Dorothy Parker was the first song that they recorded on some new equipment that he had installed. But unknown to them, there was an electrical failure, and the board was actually running at half power. So that's where that spare, murky sound came from. And Prince liked it and left it as is. And he chose not to re-record it, but actually to leave it with that spare musical beat. And once again, that just shows the genius and ingenuity and the openness behind someone like Prince, who he's like, hey, okay, let's go with this. I think it works, and by golly, damn it, it did. And like I said, it's probably the most visual song I've ever heard from anyone, and not just Prince. But at the same time, and I told Sean this in a previous interview, that this is one of the few songs by Prince that I do not like live, if that makes any sense. Now, this is my favorite song of all time. I think it's the greatest song ever written, but I don't like the song live. For some reason, because I think it's almost impossible to recreate that sound, that melody, the way that it is on record, because everything was kind of created by accident. And the way that he performs the song live, it just doesn't have that same feel to it, which is really kind of odd. But I don't like it live. I've heard him sing it, do it live several different ways, and it's a song that whenever he does it, the crowd sings it along with him. A lot of times he'll let the crowd sing it, which is great fun. But at the same time, it just kind of takes away from the majesty of the song. Once again, that's not really a criticism, but at the same time, it's just a difference, a unique difference to that particular song to me, that it just comes across better. The studio version comes across better. It's not a song I think that is really built for a live audience, if that makes any sense. But I honestly, truly believe that this is the greatest song ever written, and for those different reasons. Like I said, it just takes me to a different place, and that melody is just it's just such a magical melody, and the vocal arrangement and the way that he delivers the song along with that instrumental arrangement is absolutely positively perfect. And like I said before, this song was never meant to be a hit. It was going to be released as a single. It would have been the fifth single released from the LP, and I'm glad he didn't release it as a single, because I doubt it would have made the Hot 100. I really do, because once again, like I said, just think about it. Back in 1987, you listen to the radio, and you got DJ. Next up, you have Prince with the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. You're probably going to switch the channel without even giving it an opportunity. And like I said, the instrumentation, while I think is exquisite, but for pop music listeners or for people who don't really immerse themselves in music, I think it would have kind of the instrumentation would have kind of driven them away, because it has a jazzy feel to it, a mellow, laid back, jazzy feel to it. And once again, it's just not a song that's kind of meant for popularity, if that makes any sense. That doesn't mean it isn't a fucking masterpiece, because it is. But I don't think it's just engineered for a wide mainstream pop audience. It just doesn't fit. And Prince had the same issue with I think with If I Was Your Girlfriend, for a whole different reason. I have a conversation about If I Was Your Girlfriend on a different podcast. But I think it's that same problem as far as the titling goes, and just the overall aesthetic of the song is not very inviting to the layperson. Because I've let a lot of people listen to this song, and no one's ever really, oh wow, you're right, that song is great. They just don't get it. Not a knock on them, because I understand when it comes to music, everybody has different tastes and everything, and most people just they want something that has a nice beat, they can dance to it, and that's something that's not going to make them think. And when it comes to Prince, he does have music like that, but I'd say probably 70% of his music is stuff that's really going to make you think. It's going to provoke some sort of cogent thought from you. And when it comes to cogent thought, Dorothy Parker is at the top of the list. It really provokes a cogent thought with me. It makes me want to. It made me want to learn more about the artist. Made me want to learn more about the genesis of the song. And once again, I researched it, ad nauseum. And you talk to a different person, you're going to get a different interpretation of the song. But just backing it back up, talking to my friend, I explained all this to him as far as this is why it's my favorite song. I don't think he really got it. I let him listen to it. He said he liked it. He's going to listen to it more, listen to it over and over again, and get back with me, and and I guess kind of give me his overall interpretation of it. So I'm kind of excited to find out what he had to say. I'm not holding out much hope for him though, because I think he liked Tony M. So hey, you know how I feel about Tony M. So anybody who likes Tony M is gonna get the side eye from me. But anyways, what do you think? The Ballad of Dorothy Parker, in my opinion, the greatest song ever written. And I'm not trying to make an argument for the song, because it's just my opinion. I'm not trying to convert anyone. But what I want you to do, if you're a listener of mine, I want you to listen to this song. Listen to it in a different vein. Do me a favor. Close the door, turn off the light, or put on headphones, close your eyes, and really intently listen to this song. And hit me back and let me know what you think. Am I off base? Or am I spot on? And what did you gather from this song? Did you learn something new? Did you hear something new from this song that I don't even know about, that I might have missed out on? Comment below. Let me know. Let me know what you think about the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. In my opinion, Prince's best song, the greatest song I've ever heard before in my life. I can listen to it over and over and over and over again. It never ever gets over me. This is a beautiful song. One of the most beautiful songs. Is the most beautiful song I've ever heard in my life. And I will take the Pepsi challenge with this sucker any day of the week. It's the greatest song I have personally ever heard. And I'm going to listen to it again over and over again today because I feel that strongly about it. And once again, I don't think it's hyperbole. But hey, if I'm overboard, tell me I'm overboard. But yeah, listen to the song. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Hit me up on Facebook or Twitter at WhatLonzoThinks or email whatlonzothinks@gmail.com. I really want to know what you think. So if you're one of my listeners, I do appreciate folks. Hit me up and let me know what you think about my commentaries and everything. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the subscriptions. But I'm really asking this time. I'm really asking for my listeners, my fans. If you're a fan of mine, listen to this motherfucking song. Hit me up and let me know what you think. I'll be waiting. So once again, it's the Ballad of Dorothy Parker from Sign of the Times, track number 4. Catch that sucker. Listen to it. Let me know what you think because I just told you what Lonzo thinks. Bye.